You want this one?
All right, guys. Welcome back to The Struggle with Candice Thompson. I am Candice Thompson. We are still in quarantine. We're doing the quarantine files. So I have my friends on, and we are not going to specifically be talking about our personal struggles necessarily because we're all dealing with the same shit right now. So we're here to make you laugh about it, hopefully. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do that. We're on all podcast platforms. Go on YouTube. I'm actually starting to post them on my personal YouTube. And I'll post the link for that because I don't remember what that is off the top of my head. It's http:// So stupid. So yeah, you can watch on YouTube, subscribe there. Also, rate and review us on iTunes. And if you haven't told somebody about the struggle and you are enjoying this during quarantine, tell somebody, pay it forward. Jokes by Candice on social media. Now I'm going to introduce my co-host, Mal Hall.
Hey, everybody.
You thought I was going to say something shitty, didn't you?
Yeah, you normally do.
I do.
Happy Juneteenth, everybody. I'm Mal Hall. My website is malhall.com. Unfollow me on social media at Mal Hall, Mal Hall TV on YouTube. This is my son, Kalino, and it's his lunchtime. So I'm happy to be here.
Is this visual?
Well, it's not live. We're just recording, and then I'll post. It drops on every Tuesday, so this will be available next Tuesday.
All right. My point is, are people going to see me whenever this drops? Is that what this is?
If they go to the YouTube channel, yes. Otherwise, if they just listen to audio, then no.
Okay.
Let me explain how audio and visual. Yeah.
No, I get it. I don't know, because I have to change the behavior of whatever I was going to do. So that's fine.
Malcolm has to put on his eyelashes. He'll be right back. Malcolm, since you're already speaking, let's introduce you. Now, our guest for the day is no stranger to the struggle. We had him on a while ago, and now he's back. Welcome, the hilarious, extremely talented actor, Malcolm Barrett.
Hey, the show's, you're still doing this show.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I am still against my better judgment, and against all of my. I have such few little motivation during quarantine, so I have to force myself to continue to do this. I'm like, come on, Candice, it's Friday. You got just 1 hour, Candice. You can handle 1 hour.
You can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it. How's that? You just gonna drink in the middle of it?
Yeah.
I like that you were talking and you stopped to just drink. Like, well, I gotta motivate.
That's how unmotivated I am. This is my matcha, so it's got my caffeine in it. So I had it. I couldn't finish the sentence. I started physically shutting. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm famous enough. It's fine.
That's Malcolm saying, I don't need any more followers.
Yeah. I don't know, at Malcolm Barrett or at Verbal the Rapper. My theater company, you should follow my theater company.
There you go.
Theater. AmmoTheater.com and Ammunition Theater Company. We're on Instagram and Twitter and all of that.
There you go. Welcome. Thanks for coming back. Now, we have so much
I like
to talk
you. You're
about.
likable. You are.
I don't know where to start this week because so much has transpired. I kind of want to talk about what I think is freshest in everybody. Well, not even everybody, because I don't even know if Malcolm, you know about it. I mean, you're in the comedy world, but I'm sure you heard about.
Jesus.
I'm sure you heard about a comedian.
Oh, Jesus.
A comedian who just recently got called out for trying to hit on underage girls.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say, right? So, here's why I'm an asshole, right? If I was a lady, I feel like I would jump at this because you probably deal with bullshit guys in the comedian world all the time. Yeah. And so it's just yeah, thank you. Motherfucker's an asshole. Hello, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Me, not necessarily in the comedian world, but probably being 1 or 2 degrees away from knowing people that know him.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want the goss. Like, I just want, it's just like, for me, I just like, it's me going around the people that I know him. Like, oh, is this shit true? Do you know about this? Do you know about, what do you know about this?
Did y'all know?
Did y'all know? Like, I know, I'm not going to bring up his name because we both know this.
Oh, you're talking about.
But he's getting like residual slack because he's buddies with Chris, you know what I mean? And so it's like, and I know, I mean, from what I know, because like, from what I know, my dude is a good guy or a good enough guy, you know what I mean? And
we're talking like, about the ambiguous looking one?
Yes.
Mal, do you know who we're talking about? You have no idea.
I think so.
He's a comedy store person and he's ambiguous looking.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna bring him up just because he's getting residual shit because he knows him, and so it's just like I don't want to put his name in there, you know, unless some shit is really going down. And I told him don't respond to shit unless unless there's something that says like you did this shit, but people are just like residual shit.
Yeah.
So you know, he's one of the first people I was like, yo, you know about this shit? And you know about him touching girls or whatever?
Yeah.
And then what's crazy is just like he's just like. I mean, I knew he was an asshole, but this, you know what I mean? It's just like
a whole nother level.
Yeah, like that's the weird thing where you're just like, oh, I thought you were just like a regular shitty person.
Regular dick. I thought you were just a dick to. I thought you were a dick to older women, not.
Yeah.
I knew you were.
Like Meryl Streep, not Hannah Montana.
Yeah, because older women, no one cares about that. Like we do that.
Now that I get. You know what I mean?
It's so for our listeners who might not be up to speed on who we're talking about, because I feel like we're in our own little world. Like I feel like I'm on Twitter and I know what's happening because I'm in comedies and I see a lot of people that I follow are fellow comedians, so I see this stuff. So I just assume other people know and care, but they really don't. They probably don't even know who Chris D'Elia is necessarily.
No, well, he was trending.
He was number one trending.
Really?
He was number one trending when this all happened. It was like Tuesday night or Wednesday day. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think it was trending for. None of his specials have been number one trending, so it's got to be rough. It's got to be rough. Have this aspect.
It's also really hard. It's also really hard to get that number one spot trending in this time when Trump is saying to drink bleach and you rank above that. That's
you rank above a race war right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a pandemic and a race war.
Yeah.
And this is where like it makes you wonder like what would have been trending during like the Montgomery bus boycotts. Like what is just like like when Rosa Parks was going down, what else was trending? Like just like Sam Kinison, like a young Sam Kinison, like who was trending?
Who
like,
would have been right?
Buster Brown, like who's trending?
Coke ass cherry flavor.
It's like Rosa Parks Velcro.
Actually, about this fucking Velcro?
No more.
Like Rosa Parks is just like, you hear James Cagney was fucking his dog? Like it's just like a weird.
So much.
I want to do a list of what's trending.
What's trending?
There's a race war and a pandemic.
What matters? What is more important than that? Yeah. And it's Chris
I think that comedian I kind of know of and almost kind of like is fucking little girls.
That's the thing is now he is more famous. He is more famous from this now than he was from his comedy, which is crazy. Not that I mean he wasn't a.
That's
some Bill Cosby shit right there.
Yeah, I mean. Go ahead.
Please.
Oh, I was just gonna say, please. I saw the number like, because there's an account that was basically posting the interactions he was having with these underage girls. So there's an account. I can't remember like hate dogs or
yeah, I hate dogs or something. Or everyone hates dogs. All
something
dogs
like that.
Go to hell.
Something like that. Yes. And so she was posting screenshots of all of the interactions between email transactions, like Snapchat, DMs that girls had been sending. And it's over like 400 women that have.
Oh my God.
he's for sure like it's like the definition of a predator. Like, and like some of them were saying, there's one that was 14, you guys. There was one that was 14 years old, and she told him I'm 14. It's bad.
Yeah.
Those titties look 30.
And that's the reaction from so many men. But she looked like. Did you see the clip of him on his podcast saying there's no girls they're not kids anymore. They go from like 13 to 28. They go from 6 to 30, and it's like again, people tell you who they are. We just need to listen up. Go ahead, Malcolm.
That clip's not going to age well. Neither do his dates. I'm sorry. I'm just here. Honestly, I don't care. I have no investment. I don't have a dog in the fight. Like, I'm just here for the jokes.
We're here to...
But it's a weird... Here's my thing, right? And I'm not speaking directly to Delia. I don't like to speak
He's
directly
actually right here, guys. Delia, if you can come out...
Guys, it's just, why are you going to talk about me? That's my Chris D'Elia impression. I'm sorry, I'm just here for jokes.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing. This is what I say about like literally anyone who's ever gotten anywhere close to trouble with maybe fucking an underage girl. I can guarantee you, in my personal life, it's never happened. Like, I don't need a thing. I don't need to say a thing about how chicks look alike or whatever. Yeah. How you look alike or whatever. Like, there's no, I've never come close. There's never like, well, there was this one where I don't understand how you come close. Even if you're famous and you're like, I don't check IDs. I check IDs, man. Like, where are you going?
Right.
That you haven't realized the age of this person.
Right.
Like, unless you tell me we went to a bar and they showed their ID to somebody and they got through, and I was like, oh, I didn't think about it because we were at the bar and she showed her ID to the bartender and it was all good. Like, I'm not just fucking people I don't know who might be under 21.
Why are we? Who is even starting conversations with people who are teenagers?
I don't know.
When is the last time you went up to a teenager and was like, hi, nice to meet you. I have noticed that we have nothing in common. There's nothing for us to talk about.
It's nephews only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing is like I do a show that or the last TV show I did, it opened up my fan base to a much younger, much wider fan base than I ever had before.
Timeless?
Yeah. And so I'd be talking and there'd be people who say things and it's like, I suddenly realized like, oh, these people are children. Like when I opened up my DMs, there'd be whole groups of fans and they'll just talk with each other. And then they'll start talking about school. And I was like, oh, get the fuck out of here. And then it's just me going like, I'll like go like, hey guys, I'm out. Please leave me alone. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is not, I hope you do great in social studies.
Yeah, this isn't a back and forth interaction that's happening right now. You're here to support me. We're not going to communicate.
Yeah, no. And I also like, I don't do the DM thing. Like I don't do like there's probably, I try and keep everything public because I don't know who people are.
Exactly.
And so like most of my Twitter DMs are either people asking me to do podcasts. That's literally like my Twitter DMs are podcasts and maybe like there'll be like usually a comic, which is weird because I'm not a stand-up, but usually some sort of
Wait,
comic.
I thought you were Dave Chappelle. That's the only reason why I asked you to do this.
A lot of people do. And that's going to be the first 30 comments on your YouTube. Which is weird to me because that motherfucker's like brolic and 9 feet tall now.
Yeah,
except on his last special. His last special, we got a little dad gut.
You're talking about the George Floyd thing?
Oh, the 846 or whatever that was?
Yeah.
Which
anyway.
was insane. But yeah, I just don't have like the most stranger interactions I have, it'll be like, say a comedian that I follow that maybe follows me and we've maybe made a comment to each other. And then in our DMs, we'll talk and be like, ask industry questions. Like friggin' Leslie Jones was like into Timeless. And so like randomly she asked me something on DM about the
Mm-hmm.
business, and then I asked her something about
Yeah.
the business. You know what I mean? Like my DMs are not filled. I mean, even when I was like super single, like my DMs were not filled with like chicks. Like I've tried to use one of those apps where you go like one of those dating apps before, like when that was a thing, and I last like a week because like no one responds to me. Like I'll be like, hey, and then no one responds, and then I quit, and then like I go about my way.
Right.
You know.
No, I get it.
I've never fucked anybody through the internet, like through.
Yeah, me neither. I have no desire.
I had a desire.
Now you've been in a relationship for like the past 8 to 10 years.
Almost a decade.
Yeah.
Well, wait, no.
Here's the thing: is that doesn't stop a lot of guys. Mal, you are on Grindr though, right?
Total, 100%. Verified account. Verified on
Grindr.
Yeah.
That's
I got
hilarious.
the blue check mark on Blinder on Grindr. I don't understand the psychology of the younger girl thing. Candice, as we texted about it, like even when I was in that age group, I wasn't into those girls. Like it's
right.
It's wild. It's just a wild thing, and these people have a problem, and you have to feel sorry for them in a way. And it's like, do we judge them? Here's a question. So there's 2 different types of files when it comes to underage girls. I just learned there was a term for the other one now. There's
cinephiles.
Okay, no.
It's one.
And then there's chick file A, right? Chick file A.
That's a type. I only fuck underage chickens. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I like the breast.
Straight.
The breast
like
a little bit smaller. Smaller breast.
Underage chickens.
Once they grow real feathers, I'm just not into it.
they cluck too damn much when they get over a certain age. They just can't shut the cluck up.
Once they
feathers in the cluck,
tweet,
don't
tweet,
you
tweet,
fuck.
I'm out.
So I just learned that there's, I think it's EBA file for men who like teenage underage girls, and then there's pedophile for the children. So I'm like, should we get angrier at one over the other, or are we equally disgusted across the board with all of it?
I mean, I think we're probably equally disgusted, but there are, as in everything in life, there are levels.
Right. There's a spectrum.
What I mean? There's a difference between, 14 and 8.
Right.
For sure.
Can I tell you, this is the longest I've ever talked about pedophilia.
And, well, hold on, because we are also going to try. I do want to transition also to talking about the Michael Jackson documentary. That
fasten your seatbelt, Malcolm. Yeah. We got 45 minutes left.
On a very special pedophile episode of The Struggle.
Like later on, we're going to watch the Different Strokes episode where he goes to the bike shop.
Well, here, you guys, I don't know if you, again, because I'm in this, and so I'm getting messages and like articles sent to me that I'm like, what is this? So there's like every hour there's a different person that's getting called out. There's like, the most recent one that I saw was now Jeff Ross is getting called out. I don't know if you saw this.
No.
Oh, yeah, no. And this one, I mean, it's a 15-year, this was from 99, this accusation. And this woman,
all right.
Oh, so it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, no, she's.
Pre-2000 doesn't count.
Yeah. If he raped her before 9/11, then it's like.
Does it matter? Doesn't matter.
The world was different. It was
there was a time when men could legally marry 14-year-old girls. So it is but so in this case, this woman, and it's a lengthy, like it's on Twitter, it's a thread. She has videos, photos as evidence, but Jeff Ross was 33, she was 15, and they had a 3-year sexual relationship.
Jesus.
And the person who, her father knew, her father who also slept with underage girls. She admitted that, so her and her father don't even speak anymore. Her father knew. She said she was like talking to regularly Jeff Ross, and he was like, he's allowed to date. He was just on Letterman last night, so he can date my daughter.
Wow.
Jesus.
So he allowed it. The woman who introduced the two of them, she was, first of all, the big, huge problem here is that she met these comics, like was in the comedy world because she was working in a comedy club at the age of like 14, 15 years old. As like in an office at a desk in a comedy club surrounded by adult creepy men. And so the woman is the chick who it's the Boston Comedy Club, I believe. And the woman who booked that club is the one who introduced and gave Jess Frost her phone number. So there are women who are also complicit in this as well. Yes.
How old was the girl?
At the time, she was 15. She dated him, on and off for like 3 years, and has photographic evidence of like them at roast together, the roast of so and so. She's got photos of all this, like his arm around in his apartment. Here's
what's also wrong with our like country though, which is like, so I saw a video the other day. Because there's no shortage of videos of old white men yelling at black people about just being black. And so it's like a group of black girls. It's like what is clearly like an affluent suburb, and some older white guy who's just yelling at them, saying they don't belong here. They don't belong here. And the girls, all very present of mind. You know, one of them is like, yeah, and you're yelling at 15-year-olds, and the guy goes, 15. There are places you can marry someone at 15. So, and I was like, what a weird fucking rebuttal. What a weird, you're being racist. I can marry you. What?
Yeah.
What?
That's a very weird statistic to just have on deck.
I think Kalino has a question.
What do you think?
His arm was raised. Yeah.
Kalino seems disturbed by the entire subject matter. I'll be honest. I agree.
No,
he can't hear. He just knows that his dad is staring at this computer and laughing out loud at random times. It's like, my dad's a crazy man.
But no, Malcolm, that's a great point. Like, because we do, it's like children, it's like even.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Chappelle even posed this question in one of his specials. I don't remember which one it was, but like, how young is 15? So it's like, it was the situation where that chick, Elizabeth Smart, I think, who was like kidnapped and
got kidnapped or something.
Yeah, she was kidnapped, but then escaped and found her way home, whatever. She was 15 years old. So it's like, and the question was like, 15 is a kid, but you're not that young. Like you're a year away from driving, you're coherent. You can make adult type decisions. So people constantly try and make women, when it comes to women, like grow up faster than what they actually are. It's like, you're still a child. Like you're literally asking me to make life-changing adult decisions, and I can't even vote.
Yeah, it's weird. I see this on Twitter because I'm not around individuals like this, luckily, but I'll see this where it's just like, why is a girl even interested in blah, blah, blah? And why is she even blah, blah, blah? And it's just like, okay, you get that person's still learning math, right? Like, like, I don't know. Like, like they're still taking classes for math that like they're not going to use in 5 years when they get their job at McDonald's. So like, it's weird that we put this onus on the girls and go to the adult, like.
And it is always on the women, always.
It definitely happens. America likes to age up women and black people. They like to,
Absolutely.
What I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like every time a black kid gets killed, it's a black man, and
Absolutely.
they're like, he's huge. And to me, the justification is the same. Do you know what I mean? When they shoot a 15-year-old and it's like, he's super tall, or when you like fuck a 15-year-old and it's like, her breasts were big. It's just like,
right.
No, there's not, you don't get to bogey this one.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so I don't know. I feel like I've definitely been an asshole, but like regular asshole.
Right.
Like not like a legal asshole.
Right.
Like,
and that's the difference.
I hope.
No, it is. Like, yeah, no, it's, there's been the most, there's another one that just came out today too. You guys know, this one's not a comedian. Oh, but I will say a lot of male comics are now coming, their podcast, people are making clips of their podcast where they're just being like super, super objectifying to women. Like Joey Diaz just got called out because him and Rogan did some, I don't know who, I guess it was Rogan's podcast from like years ago, but Joey Diaz is bragging about how that no women got to perform on his show in the belly room unless they sucked his dick. And so, and they're all like laughing about it. And they're like, well, how many women was it? He was like, oh, it was like 20 women. And they're bragging and laughing. And it's just like, so these are coming, like if you go on Twitter right now and just search comedy and like pedophile, like you'll see like all these threads of dudes getting exposed now. So there's a rabbit hole now that you can go down and just see like, this is such a toxic environment. Like I posted a tweet the other day, just calling out the behavior, like the bro culture that is comedy, being a woman, being a Black woman in comedy. Like it's awful. Like we're not heard, and people just dismiss. Like, cause I was in a very toxic relationship with a guy who emotionally abused me for like 10 or 11 months. And he's a comic.
And I'm sorry about that. Candice.
Thank you, Malcolm. No, you just emotionally abused me for like a couple weeks. It wasn't very
Try to keep it short. I'm very busy. I had 3 more people to emotionally abuse that week.
Other women do emotionally abuse Candice.
You're not the only one, okay? So
other of age women to emotionally abuse.
Not about you, Candice. It's not about you. So I tweeted about my experience and just I wasn't trying to make it about me. I was just trying to call out the bro culture, because whatever, and my tweet was basically when I tell other female comics about what happened to me by the hands of this other male comic, they sympathize. And when I tell men, especially male comics, they say, oh, but he's such a cool guy. And it's like, I didn't see that. It's such a cool guy. And it's like, you just listen to what we're saying, because this is, how many women have to come forward? And again, I'm not asking you to like do anything. Besides just have conversations. When you hear men talking so negatively about women, just say, yo, stop. The same way that Black people are telling white people, hey, when you hear your racist aunt, you hear your racist grandparents talking shit about other Black people, check them. Just check them.
Yeah, you got to check people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like super woke or anything, but like you got to like fucking like check some amount of shit. What's funny is like there's all these comics that are like, I'm tired of people like digging up shit from wherever and finding out and just like canceling folks. And it's just like, I can't tell you how not worried I am about a tweet I left in whatever year. Like I stand by, I'm sure there's going to be something I'm surprised by, but I stand by all of it. Like I'm not worried at all. Like I feel like you're worried, because you said some fucked up shit. Like there's like, whatever it is, whatever the name of that mediocre white comic that was going to get a job on Saturday Night Live this same year, the first Asian person, Bowie Yang, got a job on Saturday Night Live. Yep. And it's just like, it's old stuff and it's out of context. It's like, no, I mean, that was racist, my dude. Like, you I'm sorry it was a while ago, but like, it was like, you were a racist as an adult comedian. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to, like, I don't feel bad or good for you. Do you know what I mean? I'm ambivalent. Like, I can't,
it is what it is situation.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like that's how it works. Like, now you're going to have to like do something else or like work harder.
He's a white man. He'll be fine.
Exactly. Like, I'm not worried about you in the least. Like, I'm sorry you can't talk about us the way people talked about us before we had rights.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry there's that small minutia of shift in culture. You know what I mean? Because it's not worldwide. Like, it's isolated. Like, these people are getting called out, like, way after they should have been. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm sorry you're dealing with these effects and it feels like cancel culture, but like calling out, and I'm not the first to say this, but like calling out racists isn't cancel culture. Like, no, responding to you disrespecting me is not cancel culture. It's called consequences and repercussions.
And you've gone this far without suffering any of those. So it's like,
so I'm like, I'm glad you got to have like really horrible habits and success for this long. Like, that's gotta be like super cool. Like, that's gotta have been dope for you. I'm sorry you missed your run of doing that is over for like 5 minutes. Because we also know what happens, right? Like, we get tired because what happens is there's a flood of people who are disenfranchised every day. For decades, all the time. And then one popular person gets called out for whatever thing. And then all of a sudden it's a flood. And then people, what happens is first they listen and then they go, look, this is too much, man. Apparently it's happening everywhere. And I can't, I got to go to work tomorrow. I can't deal with if everybody at work is racist, I can't.
It's too much.
I mean, it's too much for me. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm racist. So like, I just don't want to.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I fucked a kid once. Like, I don't want to deal with this.
You
Like,
know
we're
what's
going to
funny?
do with every person that fucked a kid.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and say, Malcolm did not fuck a kid. Just in case someone tries to like.
Out of context. And you know what? Bring it up. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Because you know what? Either I didn't fuck a kid and I'm okay, or I fucked a kid and should go to jail.
And he did not, so he's fine. Yeah.
So I'm fine.
He's fine.
I love that. I love that Candice is pointing that out, as if the people who are going to pull that clip cannot also clip that part out, Candice.
I also, who's listening to just this 5 seconds of the struggle?
Malcolm, don't you underestimate my listeners. Underestimate my listeners. Some of them only listen to 5 seconds at a time.
I can't wait to see it happens. I'm excited for it. What's going to be fucked up about it is that a bunch of pedophile comedians, when they see that it's taken out of context and that people are wrong, they're going to be like, you see how they did my brother? He was innocent. And you see how people come for their pitchforks, man? This is horrible society, cancel culture.
Of course. Yeah. I do think this is definitely...
Finish your chocolate milk, babe.
You see this? Take a sip of cup. You see this bullshit? They're doing it to us.
I hate both of you. Did we walk Colino?
I put him to.
He was like, I can't listen to this anymore.
I let him take a nap. He was looking tired.
It's before we transition to the Michael Jackson. I will say this really quickly. There was one more call out, not a comedian, but this was an actor. Do you guys know who Ansel Elgort is?
Yo, I haven't fully been able. So, everyone's got like their little chat groups. Yeah. And I just heard about, I'm annoyed that we know his name.
I know.
Like,
it's not even a good name. I don't like saying it. It sounds like.
Hassan Minhaj, I think, talks about that, where he's just like, well, he doesn't talk about that, but he goes, you guys learned how to say Ansel Elgort, right? So you can say my name, right? Like, you guys have never heard that name before. So, like, you can do this. Like, I'm annoyed. I'm like, what?
Right. Yeah. But you can't say Mahershala Ali. Right.
Yeah. You motherfuckers are struggling,
Right.
So.
You can say Zach Galifianakis, but you can't say.
yeah. Without even blinking.
Right.
Meanwhile, Brad Pitt has to do a whole song for David Oyelowo, Guys. He has to plead the case to learn this African's name.
Are you looking him up, Mal?
Yeah, he's the guy from Baby Driver.
Baby Driver and The Fault in Our Stars.
I bet he is.
He was actually literally driving babies.
Yeah. Now we know what the fault is in his star.
So good. Yeah, no, but he's called out for underage girl and then also sexual assault. So there's 2 counts there. So we'll see what happens with this. But
I don't know nothing about nothing.
Yeah, no, it's
also I can bring this up because Rob Lowe.
Please.
This is Rob Lowe, man, right?
What about him? Did he do something now?
See, exactly. He did some shit back in the day. There's like
from the 90s, I think.
Yeah, it's on like tape or something like that. Like
it's on VHS.
His shit is on like VHS. But that's where it's just like the inimitable spirit of white men, right? Like, because we all know Rob Lowe fucked some underage girls, and we're just like, It's cool.
Dude, I have a joke about this because there are, again, I'll bring up that first of all, in some states, the age of consent is different. Like in New Jersey, I believe it is 16 or 17, one of the two. And so why can't we just go across the board, just all the states on the same page? 18.
Because you're gonna lose the South.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think it's time we lost them. I have a checklist of reasons why we should lose the South. I don't think they're necessary anymore. So I like, there's that. You could marry, back in the day, it was completely legal to marry a teenager or 14-year-old. So like, we're as a country just now getting to the point where it's like, this is not okay. Like I talk about in my set, like there are songs that I listened to growing up where one of the lyrics was, she's just 16 years old, leave her alone, they said.
I mean, that's horrible.
And I'm like, who is they? The police? Is that who you're talking? Is that them?
What's that song where it's like, she is 16 going on 17. Young girl,
get out of my mind. My love for you is way out of line. Better run, girl. You're much too young, girl. What?
Wow, these songs are horrible. I wonder
lyrics.
if there was songs like that for interracial relationships back in the day, where it's just like, he's darker than they say he should be, but I like a Negro for me. Darky, come love me, Darky, come love me. My love is white hot, love me.
My love is white hot. That's
that song was number one on the charts for 3 weeks in 1964.
Darky, come love me, streaming at the charts. It's going higher than a Negro being lynched right now in the charts.
Okay, so this is pretty surprising to me. The age of consent is 16. In most states.
Not in most states.
I'm looking at it right now. Most states, it's 16. California is 18.
California is definitely 18. Yeah.
Alabama. Okay, I'll just read them out. Alabama
is 3. No.
Alabama, Alaska, 16. Arkansas, 16. Colorado, 17. Connecticut, 16. Delaware, 18. DC, 16. Florida, 18. Georgia, 16. Hawaii, 16.
Wow.
Idaho, 18. Illinois, 17. Indiana, 16. Iowa, 16. Kansas, 16. Kentucky,
you know what's sad
16.
is that there's one of my listeners is like writing down, which one's in 16?
Okay, Iowa, Kentucky. Yeah. Baby, when we going to Iowa? I don't know.
The wild thing is there's a thing called minimum age of victim. This is the age below which an individual cannot consent to sexual intercourse under any circumstances, and that number is different.
What number is it? What's the number?
So for Alabama, it's 12. There's none for Alaska. Arizona, 15. California, it should be like California, age of consent, minimum age of victim, 18. It's the same. And I think that's it should just be 18 all across the board.
Why is there, so wait, there's a version where you go, look, she was 17. She was, what?
Yeah, I don't get, this is wild.
I tell you this, our founding fathers, they were like, if there's one thing we got to get straight, is when we can fuck these kids.
It's when we can.
Slavery, we'll get to slavery.
Yeah.
But how old are these kids we're fucking, guys? Get on this, John Hancock.
I don't think people understand how prevalent pedophilia is.
I'm actually feel like I'm waking up to this because it's just also you got to figure out the age of consent is different in the world.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's here. We're talking, go across to some third world country. If girls here are getting abused. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But imagine when there's even less regulation. Yeah. Imagine what's going on there.
Yeah, there's other countries that is like, what is consent?
Yo, I mean, look, if you want to know how many pedophiles we have at the upper echelon, you know who they killed recently? They haven't killed a civil rights leader in a while, but they killed Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. He was more of a threat. he was about to drop some names.
He was like the Malcolm X of pedophiles for them. Like, they were like, we gotta kill this guy.
He about to snitch on everybody.
And what's funny is shit really died. Like, he was part of a ring, a billionaire ring that a lot of people literally connected to our president. And the shit stopped when he died.
Yep.
Like, that's how much protection there is of pedophilia in the higher up.
Absolutely. And like that chick is still, his girlfriend is still like on the lam. Ghislaine Maxwell. She was the woman who was bringing girls to him. She was, like I said, women, there are a lot. White women bringing him. Yeah. Like they're just as complicit in the sex trafficking. And it's
that
all
shit was
evil.
wild. Like, what's the name of that? Like Weinstein and shit. Like, when you find out, like, you're like, who was helping you do what? Like, you had, like, they were arranging for you. Like, they knew what was going on and were sending them to the hotel. Like, that's just like cold-blooded, like a sisterhood shit.
Yeah.
Man.
No, I also, since I brought up race, since we've been talking about race this whole entire time, is it just me? I feel like, first of all the creepy dudes that have been outed like this past week just in the comedy world, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's we're not hearing about the other ones, but they're all white. They're all white. I don't know what that is, but I feel like when it comes to like, and then we'll transition to Michael Jackson, when we're talking about black celebrities or black people in general with pedophilia, not to say that there aren't any, but I just feel like there's not as many. And I don't know what, like we had R. Kelly with that, and then we had R. Kelly.
We had our dude.
Yeah, like him and Michael Jackson allegedly were the faces of like the black. Because again, I don't hear, whenever I see, and even when I think, like I hear like a pedophile, the image that pops into my head is a creepy old white dude. It's not a black person, it's not a Mexican, it's not a brown, it's not an Indian, it's not a person of color. It's always a white dude. And I will say, go ahead.
Chappelle said it. The reason why it doesn't happen is because black people know the law. Like, they're not gonna do it. They know the law. Nigga, that's 5 to 10. Like, they know.
Right.
Here's my
rebuttal. Very true.
Here's my rebuttal. My rebuttal to that is, it just doesn't get the same attention. In a lot of cases, you know what I mean. It's like abusive black women doesn't get the same attention as
right.
And so, and since a lot of this is also about power, the people that are mostly in power are white men. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know that I can't believe I'm like giving this side of the argument, but like, I don't know that like we don't do it or how prevalent it is. I really don't know.
Right.
But I think you probably hear about it more because white men have more power and it's about abuse of power.
Right. Yes. No. That makes a lot of sense. But I just always found it strange how, you know, like I also think there's something to, you know, the emaciation, like white women and like the white men's attraction to that super skinny, no curves, must be no hair down there. Whereas like black, there's curves. Like when you have other cult, there's curves. And I don't know any men of color that are like, I like my woman to weigh 95 pounds. She got to be shaved down there. Like, it's just for some reason, I feel like that is specific to the white culture. Like no titties, like just like that childlike type of figure. And again, I'm not speaking of all white men. I just find it's interesting. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, start anything here. I'm just curious as to, there's something about that image that, again, when I think of it, I just immediately think of an old white creepy dude.
Yeah.
Well, I think there is, speaking with no scientific fact, but I think there's a cultural difference, right, for the standard of beauty in America. Right. And so our standard of beauty is way different. Do you know what I mean? Our standard of beauty and attraction and what we celebrate is way different. Like you said, we celebrate hips and curves and fullness of lips and things like that. Whereas white culture as a whole in media and through song for years has been about skinny and hairless. You know what I mean? And so it's I think there is something to that. You know what I mean? It's just that's definitely a cultural difference in terms of attraction.
Yeah, and that cultural thing that goes across all cultures too. So it's like, you know, yeah, every color people sort of every ethnicity kind of hones in on their sort of thing, and that's, I don't know.
That's their thing.
Yeah. I had a point in my head and it lost steam quick.
It went away. That's fine. That's fine. All right. We only have a little bit of time left, so I do want to transition finally into the Michael Jackson. So for those of you who don't know, I didn't know about it. I just stumbled across it. I was looking for something to watch earlier this week, and I went on Amazon and I saw that there was a new Michael Jackson documentary. And I don't know how new it is. It may have come out last year. I don't know. But I had never heard of it. And I was like, what is this? And immediately I was like, I don't want to watch this if it's another negative perspective on Michael Jackson, because I've already heard so many negative perspectives on Michael Jackson. I was like, I already know what it is. So I looked at it, though, and I read the little, like, paragraph describing what it was about, the premise. And it was like, oh, this is in defense of Michael Jackson. So I was like, I'm curious because, and I've been vocal about this before on my podcast, I never in my heart felt like he did it. And I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people because of all of the accusations, but I would like to point out there was never any evidence. There was never evidence. It was only accusations. And I just felt like he was a weird dude who got taken advantage of because he was super weird. And I felt like he was not attracted to anybody. I never got I felt he was asexual. I also had heard he was chemically castrated a long time ago. So I was like, in my heart, I felt like he didn't do it. And I'll just put it that. If it was anybody else, I would probably say, oh yeah, I probably believe they did it. If it was Michael Jackson, it's a specific case. I felt like he did not do it. And so I watched this documentary and I felt like it was very compelling. And I know I asked that you guys watch, you both got a chance to watch it, or at least most of it.
Yeah, I watched it today.
I watched a half hour. You know this. I texted her this morning because I hadn't watched her. And I was like, is this a booty hole documentary? I was like, I don't want to. It's Juneteenth, and I just woke up, and then I was like, I don't even know if I have Prime, if I gotta pay for this. I don't want to pay for a booty hole documentary.
How heavy is this gonna be?
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, okay, he might not have done it. Okay, all right, okay, yeah. I can watch a little.
Yeah.
All these booty hole documentaries.
Yeah. What did you guys think?
I mean, it's compelling. I believe it.
I do too. I believe it.
I'm in the Michael Jackson didn't do it camp either. And the statistic that really caught me was, most pedophiles have hundreds of victims and a crazy pattern. And I would, again, I have no fact-based evidence to support this, but I feel like most pedophiles would have very easily attainable fucking porn in their house somewhere. They would have evidence at the house.
Right.
And
nothing.
And he has 5 accusers and no police calls for the abuse.
Exactly. That was I put that even on my Instagram story. At the very end, you have to watch to the very end to get all this information, but there is a statistic that they grabbed from some database that most pedophiles abuse around 250 kids. I was saying with the D'Elia thing, how there was 400, and that was just who reached out and said he sent. Was
the D'Elia thing? Was that literally hundreds of?
Yes. Oh, the chick on that Twitter account said, yeah, I've received, and that was just in that time frame. In the couple of days that she first started fielding for these messages, she received over 400 submissions from girls. You have to think he has millions of followers on multiple platforms. So, and he's just sitting there DMing all of them. Hey, it's a number. Hey, what's going? And people, people have been like, did you know about? And I'm like, look, I heard that D'Elia was creepy in DMs. I'd heard that for years. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Men don't know what to do when they get power. That was my thought. And so I did not know, however, that they were underage. I did not know that. I heard that he had been creepy in messages, and that's it.
My favorite thing is just people going like, yeah, no, I knew he was like just like a really creepy bad guy to women, but like this.
The fact that is not enough, it's just because it's so, if there's one thing we can agree on in this world is that we hate women. Like that is the one thing that everyone's cool with. Like I had to make a choice this week when I started hearing about the D'Elia shit. I was like, great, now I got to start being outspoken about comedy and being a woman in comedy. And it's like, there was pressure. I saw pressure from other, like just on my timeline, like people are like, but what about back to George Floyd and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yo, I'm black and I'm a woman. You ain't gonna make me choose right now. I don't get that privilege. You're gonna hear about it about both these things from me because that's the male privilege. You get to drop. You can say, oh, I'm gonna focus on this. I never get to just focus on that. So it's so crazy, the disrespect. And so again, I'm black and I'm a woman. So it's like, I don't even exist. Like we have no privilege. There's no privilege that we have. So this has been a very—
Yeah, but y'all got ass though.
We got ass privilege. Here's the thing is we don't even have that, Malcolm. We don't even have that because the white women, they take that from us too. They get the injections and we ghetto for having asses and they're trendy for having asses. So let's not even go there. But yes, we know black is beautiful. Happy Juneteenth. But back to the MJ situation. Oh yeah, so that was the statistic is that most pedophiles abuse hundreds, over like usually 250. He had 5.
Are you kidding me?
He had 5 and none of them went to the police. They all went straight to civil lawsuit to get money. They never tried to go to the police and say, here's evidence. That they all went straight to his wallet.
The other wild thing too is that they all use the same lawyer, the root story, the origin story for all 5 victims was like the exact same in every fucking case.
I can only speak so much because I am 2 degrees from a victim who's spoken out as of recent.
Oh.
So I can only speak to so much, not because I feel, not even because I feel any way towards that individual, but because I'm friends with somebody who's on their side because of relations. And so for the record, I'm not gonna speak directly about that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's all. Okay.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. I'm not
okay. Well, I will say we have a couple more minutes here, but what I found very interesting, Mal, and I don't know if you got to that. I don't know if you got to that part, Malcolm, but in the 30
minutes in, one of the guy's dads is an asshole.
Oh yeah, the very first accusation from '93. Like that guy was a complete monster. He also then committed suicide, I think in 2009 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, one of the most interesting and crazy parts of that documentary was the mention of NAMBLA. You guys know what NAMBLA is?
National Association for Man-Boy Love Association?
I think it's North American.
Is there a South American chapter?
What have we been talking about this whole entire time? The world is
fuck. Okay, Jesus. No, because my Siri just reacted, and I don't need that in my search.
North American Man-Boy Love
Association. Yeah. Now, I will say the first time I heard about this was on South Park. There was a South Park episode years ago where they mentioned NAMBLA and they had a whole plot line about it. And I was like, this is clearly made up for the show. Like, there's not a real thing. And then one of my friends was like, oh, no, that's a real thing. There is an association for pedophiles. And the purpose of this organization is to basically help people have sensitivities to pedophiles and understand that this is just how they feel. This is a natural thing to be attracted to young boys. And we just need acceptance. So in the documentary, there was a mole that was in there, like a reporter who went in there and like pretended to be a pedophile and overheard a conversation about how they needed a celebrity face to be attached to this association so people will be more accepting of pedophiles. And they targeted Michael Jackson. So they started going to reporters saying he's a pedophile with no evidence, just saying this, making connections and contacts, spreading the rumor that he was a pedophile. And that guy who was going and making those connections to those reporters is also connected to that father that made the first accusation in 1993. They have receipts of his relationship with that man. And so, to me, Michael Jackson, apparently, you guys, was a victim of big pedo.
He's the first victim of cancel culture. Big pedo.
Big pedo. Like,
big pedo.
I was like, what?
The whole thing has always been incredibly weird. Just the accusation, because that's the thing about it, is that when they talk about Michael Jackson, he is very childlike and all of this, and it's just like, it's very clear, and it's different than you see the behavior of what little I know about pedophiles. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily that they identify as children; it's that they take in children and offer them things, and it's a very, like, they don't want their own wonderland. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very
exactly.
But it's also weird. At the same time, my kid is not sleeping over Michael Jackson's house. But my kid, I don't care how great a singer he is. Like, my kid is not sleeping over anybody's house. Any adult with no children of their own. They're just not. And this isn't a blame the victim thing. This is just me talking about, like, don't let your kids sleep over random people's houses.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it speaks to the parents, because again, why are you allowing that to happen? Like, even, which is again also suspicious. Like, why were you, again, not to say that it's the parents' necessarily fault if a child gets molested, but it's like, you are putting them in the hands of a complete stranger. And there are a lot of parents that look at celebrity over, they will sell out their kid for celebrity. And with that situation with Jeff Ross that I mentioned earlier, the dad knew. The dad literally said to his 15-year-old or 15 or 16-year-old at the time, my daughter can go out with a dude who was just on Letterman last night.
Yeah. Remember that creepy dude from Lost? Remember that weird dude from Lost? There was a weird thing for a second, because, like, there was that guy from Lost who, like, dated, like, he was, like, getting married to an underage chick. And it was the same thing where, like,
I think I do remember that.
Yeah, where her parents were like, where her parents were, like, totally cool with it. And so I feel like that's a whole other aspect where I'm like, I don't know if we're ever going to solve this, like, celebrities committing pedophilia thing, because, like, the country's okay with 15, and then there's, like, a double down age of 12, and then parents are like,
and the parents are like, I just want to be famous, so
I'm like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
rates by the best.
You can rate my daughter as seriously. That's it, and that's what's sad. And people don't also remember this, but Paul Walker, we all remember Paul Walker. He died in a car accident a few years ago. Yeah. People don't know he had a history of dating teenagers. The girl who was his girlfriend at the time of his death, they met when she was 16, and he was, I think, 32. And there's another record of him dating another teenager before that when he was like 28. And the parents, and he knew the parent. I have a whole document, a Google spreadsheet. First of all,
why you got to bring up this dead man's pedophilia? And then that's the number one question. I don't really care. It's not mine. Again, just here for the jokes.
But yeah, no, her parents knew that she was dating Paul Walker at 16. And so back to our point of, it's like celebrity just trumps. Everyone wants to be famous. Everybody wants a better life. That father in the Michael Jackson documentary, the first one that did the 93 accusation, was trying to get Michael Jackson to buy him a house. Buy me a house. Yeah. You wouldn't buy me a house, so I'm going to ruin your career. That's literally what he said in a phone conversation. You're not going to give me what I want. I'm going to ruin your career. And there's phone records of that. So, you know, people are trash.
And that lawyer, and that first lawyer too, that guy was a fucking burning dumpster fire of a human being.
Absolutely. His assistant is in the black lady is what his assistant from that time, and is spilling all the tea. Yeah.
She's like exactly what you think of when you think of like a black auntie that's a gossip. Like,
She just sipping tea, watching the whole entire thing. Well, you ain't heard that. You ain't heard that from me.
Yeah. They went in the back room every time. And you know what? They never did that with no one else. Oh, shit, okay. I believe you. Because you seem nosy, and this is the kind of shit that you tell your family, I could tell.
Oh, man, you guys are out of time. But this was, again, I think the longest conversation I've ever had about pedophilia. I think we broke a record for the Guinness Book of World Records.
I don't want to be a part of that record.
I'm submitting today. I'm submitting.
No.
All of us.
By the way, I think this episode trumps the most worst out of context quotes that I could possibly have in my career. Because I definitely said I fucked a child, like it's somewhere.
You did. So I'll reiterate, Malcolm did not fuck a child. He has no
Thank
desire.
you. Well, here's the thing. If I did, you wouldn't know, right? Because I wouldn't be like that with you.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I mean?
People lead double
lives.
lives.
That's how confident I am in not fucking a child that I can argue this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? When people look, these are the clips they're going to find. They're not going to find a clip of me going, 13 is just like 47 these days. It's going to be clips of me going, look out for pedophiles.
My favorite clip is the R. Kelly one where he's being interviewed by Touré. Did you guys see this one? I don't remember what year this was, but he was being interviewed by Touré.
It's the best. It's the best clip ever.
He goes, R. Kelly, do you date or have sex with teenagers? And R. Kelly goes, define what you mean by teenager.
I remember that.
And Touré goes, I mean a teenager.
Yeah, like Touré was like, you could see he was like, okay, I mean, hey man, teenagers. It's in the name. Like if their age is in the teens.
For debate, it's not like this thing that you can just kind of guess if somebody's a teenager or not. It's like these are facts. There's an age range.
There's no. It's very clear. We don't do this for people in their 20s and their 30s, their 40s. There's no thing for that. But there's a clear. We've written it down. Let me tell you the age bracket for teenagers: 13
14
to 19. I think he was trying to leave room.
You can't be a 27-year-old teenager. Are you sure?
2017.
I think he was trying to leave room for the 12-year-olds he was fucking. I'll be honest.
He may have been.
Like, okay, define teen, because.
Wait, you guys, is Juneteenth? Is Juneteenth a teenager?
Yeah, teenager. He's like, can I fuck Juneteenth? R. Kelly's right now talking to his lawyer, asking if he can fuck Juneteenth.
I just watched The Question. That shit is fucking hilarious. His face is like, he says, so what do you mean by teenagers? And he's like, fucking teenagers. And then what do you mean?
not open for interpretation.
Tori, you could tell that if it was a room for, like, if he was just with his wife, he would have been like, teenagers, nigga. Like, what is it? Like, that was what was happening.
Teenagers, nigga.
Oh my God, I'm sweating because I'm laughing so hard. You guys made me laugh sweat. Well, this has been, I needed this because I've been, it's been heavy this week finding out, of course, people that I work with regularly and now, but on the bright side, there's going to be a lot more spots for me at the Comedy Store. See me at the comedy.
But on the downside, will there be?
Well, first of all, is there any more comedy? We don't know. Comedy might be dead. But yes, if the clubs do open back up, there's going to be some more spots for some people now because we're hopefully going to try and take down this white bro culture that is so toxic. Anyway.
Yeah, it's intense. I'm so glad I'm not a comedian. Like, you're doing great, Candice. And Mal, I don't know anything about you, but Candice, you're doing great.
All I have to say is, you see how awful it is just to get any type of stage time at all, but like to be like successful and you're a woman of color, but then a black woman on top. It's like I be in these streets fighting every day.
You're literally the only black woman I consistently see at the Comedy Store. Like,
yeah, like
I was going heavy. Yeah, because I was going heavy when I quit drinking. I was like sober for like a year, and so I would just go to the store because it's like the only place I can go late at night.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though it has a 2-drink minimum. But it was just heavy Cokes, heavy Coca-Colas and ice.
Sober, so I went down to the comedy bar.
Yeah.
I know, because there's no other place to go that isn't a bar. You know what I mean? Because most places at that time are like bars.
Yeah.
So the only place to go was the Comedy Store, and luckily I have a bunch of comedian friends, so I could hit them up at like 1 a.m. and just be like, "Are you doing it? Okay, please, I'm coming over there now."
Yeah.
And watch, as opposed to like drink in my house, you know.
Yeah.
But that's a whole side thing.
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole other thing.
So yeah, there are some other black women there. Not a tremendous amount, but again, I think now maybe some things will start changing. Hopefully, because we ain't the ones messaging underage kids. So there we go. Move on. All right, guys. Thank you for being here today. Malcolm, one more time, where can people find you online, or your theater company?
Oh, ammunitiontheater.com. Ammunition Theater Company. I don't know, on Instagram and Twitter, and then I'm on there, I guess, as at Malcolm Barrett or at Verbal Rapper. I don't know which thing I'm on. What?
Yeah.
Oh, and I have this thing called, I just started a thing, like I want to be like you guys. I just started a podcast called Live with Malcolm, and it's just it's once a week, and I just meet. I just talk to. I realize I have famous friends, so I just talk to them.
Yes. That's a great idea.
That's literally. That's all. It's me being stupid for
Malcolm and his famous friends.
Yeah, it's just me talking for 10 minutes, not really knowing what to do technically. And then a famous friend.
Nice. Okay. When does that start?
It's actually started. I have an account. It's Live with Malcolm.
Okay, perfect.
And it's currently on my account, but you can see the trailers for everyone's episode on Live with Malcolm. I'm going to go this weekend and try and insert all the interviews and edit and do that stuff.
Perfect. And also watch Puka Lives on Hulu.
I'm on that. I'm in Puka Lives. I'm in Aretha, not the movie, but the TV one. I think it's called Aretha Franklin Genius Aretha Franklin. But I don't think that'll be out. I don't fucking know, man. We got shut down for Corona. I'm done shooting.
Yeah.
I'm done shooting.
Right. So look for that in 2028.
Yeah.
And Mal, one more time, where can people unfollow you?
At Mal Hall, and just Google Mal Hall and put a block on all those pages.
All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. We're on YouTube. I'll post a link for that for you to subscribe. And then rate and review us on iTunes, and tell somebody if you're listening to The Struggle and you're enjoying. Hopefully we brought some info and some joy to your day in quarantine. Till next time.
Don't fuck teenagers.
Don't. And let's be clear, what is the definition of teenager again? One more time?
It's if they have teen.
Nigga, a teenager.
Till next time. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
His face.
I forgot.